So, the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane, chapter 26. There you are, my lady. Meet the rabbit doll, said Lucius. The doll mender walked away, turning out the lights one by one. In the gloom of the shop, Edward could see that the doll's head, like his, had been broken and repaired. Her face was, in fact, a web of cracks, and she was wearing a baby's bonnet. "How do you do?" she said in a high, thin voice. "I am pleased to make your acquaintance." "Hello," said Edward. "Have you been here long?" she asked. "Months and months," said Edward. "But I don't care. One place is just the same as another to me." "Oh, not for me," said the doll. "I have lived 100 years, and in all that time I have been in places that were heavenly and others that were horrid. After a time, you learn that each place is different, and you become a different doll in each place too. Quite different." 100 years, said Edward. "I am old." The doll mender confirmed this. He said, as he was mending me, that I was at least 100, at least 100 years old. Edward thought about everything that had happened to him in his short life. What kind of adventures would you have had if you were in the world for a century? The old doll said, "I wonder who will come for me this time. Someone will come. Someone always comes. Who will it be?" "I don't care if anyone comes for me," said Edward. "But that's dreadful," said the doll. "There's no point in going on if you feel that way. No point at all. You must be filled with expectancy. You must be awash in hope. You must wonder who will love you and whom you will love next." "I'm done with being loved," Edward told her. "I'm done with loving. It is too painful." "Psh!" said the doll. "Where's your courage?" "Somewhere else, I guess," said Edward. "You disappoint me," she said. "You disappoint me greatly. If you have no intention of loving or being loved, then the whole journey is pointless. You might as well leap from this shelf right now and let yourself shatter into a million pieces. Get it over with. Get it over with now." "I would leap if I were able," said Edward. "Shall I push you?" said the old doll. "No, thank you," Edward said to her. "Not that you could." "What's that?" "Nothing," said Edward. In the dark, in the doll shop, it was now complete. The old doll and Edward sat on their shelf and stared straight ahead. "You disappoint me," said the old doll. Her words made Edward think of Pellegrina, of warthogs and princesses, of listening and love, of spells and curses. What if there was someone waiting to love him? What if there was someone whom he could love again? Was it possible? Edward felt his heart stir. "No," he told his heart, "not possible, not possible." In the morning, Lucius Clark came in and unlocked the shop. "Good morning, my darlings," he called out to them. "Good morning, my lovelies." He pulled up the shades on the window, turned on the light over his tools, switched the sign on the door to open. His first customer was a little girl with her father. "Are you looking for something special?" Lucius Clark asked them. "Yes," said the little girl. "I am looking for a friend." Her father put her on his shoulders and they walked slowly around the shop. The girl studied each doll carefully. She looked Edward in the eye. She nodded at him. "Have you decided, Natalie?" her father asked. "Yes," she said. "I want the one in the baby bonnet." "Oh," said Lucius Clark, "you know that she is very old. She is an antique." "She needs me," said Natalie firmly. Next to Edward, the old doll let out a sigh. She seemed to sit up straighter. Lucius came over and took her off the shelf and handed her to Natalie. And when they left, the girl's father opened the door for the little girl and the doll. A bright shaft of early morning light came flooding in, and Edward heard quite clearly, as if she was still sitting next to him, the old doll's voice. "Open your heart," she said gently. "Someone will come. Someone will come for you. But first, you must open your heart." The door closed. The sunlight disappeared. "Someone will come." Edward's heart stirred. He thought, for the first time in a long time, of the house on Egypt Street, of Abilene winding his watch and then bending towards him and placing it on his left leg and saying, "I will come home to you." No, he told himself, "Don't believe it. Don't let yourself believe it." But it was too late. Someone will come for you. The China Rabbit's heart had begun again to open. There he is. Chapter 27. Seasons passed, autumn and winter, spring and summer. Leaves blew in through the open door of Lucius Clark's shop, and rain and green, outrageous, hopeful lights of spring. People came and went, grandmothers and doll collectors and little girls with their mothers. Edward Tulane waited. The seasons turned into years. Edward Tulane waited. He repeated the old doll's words over and over and over until they wore a small groove of hope in his brain. Someone will come. Someone will come for you. And the old doll was right. Someone did come. It was springtime. It was raining. There were dogwood blossoms on the floor of Lucius Clark's shop. And in came a small girl, maybe 5 years old. And while her mother struggled to close a blue umbrella, the little girl walked around the shop, stopping and staring solemnly at each doll and then moving on. And then she came to Edward. She stood in front of him for what seemed a long time. She looked at him, and he looked back at her. "Someone will come," Edward said. "Someone will come for me." The little girl smiled, and then she stood on her tiptoes and took Edward off the shelf. She cradled him in her arms, and she held him in the same ferocious, tender way Sarah Ruth had held him. "Oh," thought Edward, "I remember this." Madam," said Lucius Clark, "could you please attend to your daughter? She's holding a very fragile, very precious, very expensive doll." "Maggie," said the woman. She looked up from the still open umbrella. "What have you got?" "A rabbit," said Maggie. "A what?" said her mother. "A rabbit," said Maggie. "I want him. Remember, we're not buying anything today. We're only looking," said the woman. "Madam," said Lucius Clark, "please." The woman came over and stood over Maggie. She looked down at Edward. The rabbit felt dizzy. He wondered for a minute if his head had cracked open again, if he was dreaming. "Look, Mama," said Maggie. "Look at him." "I see him," said the woman. She dropped the umbrella and put her hand on a locket that hung around her neck. Edward saw then that it was not a locket. It was a watch, a pocket watch. It was his watch. "Edward," said Abilene. "Yes," said Edward. "Edward," she said again, certain this time. "Yes," said Edward. "Yes, yes, yes. It is me." The end. But the last bit of the book says, "Once there was a China rabbit who was loved by a little girl." This one's not China, but there you go. The rabbit went on an ocean journey and fell overboard and was rescued by a fisherman. He was buried under rubbish and unburied by a dog. He travelled for a long time with tramps and worked for a short time as a scarecrow. Once there was a rabbit who loved a little girl and watched her die. The rabbit danced on the streets of Memphis. His head was broken open in a diner and he was put together by a doll mender. And the rabbit swore that he would not make the mistake of loving again. Once there was a rabbit who danced in the garden in springtime with the daughter of the woman who had loved him at the beginning of the journey. The girl swung the rabbit as she danced in circles. Sometimes they went so fast, the two of them, that it seemed as if they were flying. Sometimes it seemed as if they both had wings. Once, oh, a marvellous once, there was a rabbit who found his way home. And where's Edward's pocket watch? That's what a pocket watch looks like. A watch that goes in your pocket. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.